Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you another great lesson about sports, part of our sports series.
That's right. And in this lesson, we are talking about maybe the world's most favorite sport.
Right. One of the most popular sports in the world, soccer, or also known as football in other countries.
Yes.
Okay, so before we get started with this great lesson, let's take a look at some of the words we'll find in the dialogue in Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary Preview.
We're going to look at 3 words here. The first word is wingman.
Wingman.
A wingman.
Now, wingman isn't really related to soccer in any way.
Okay.
But it's a way of referring to somebody as your right hand.
So your helper.
Your helper, your number one guy.
Okay.
Right?
So a wingman is someone who helps you a lot.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Okay. Our next word, tied.
Tied.
They are tied.
They are tied. Now, this is an interesting word because tie can be a noun, verb, and an adjective, right?
Exactly. So in this case, they are tied. It's an adjective meaning...
They have the same score.
Okay. And a tie is...
Is a game that has ended with no winner or loser. Both of them had the same score.
Exactly. And so obviously the verb to tie is to reach the same score as your other team.
Exactly.
All right. Well, our third word can also be used as a noun and a verb, and it is foul.
Fouled.
Fouled.
Okay, so to foul somebody
is to do something to them that is not allowed in the sport.
Okay. And so when you do this, you have committed a foul.
Exactly.
Okay, so you use it in the same way, to foul or a foul. Interesting.
Well, we're going to hear these 3 words in context now. So why don't we listen to our soccer dialogue?
Welcome back, soccer fans. My name is Rick Fields, and as always, I am joined by my commentating wingman, Bob Copeland.
And we're on the brink of soccer history today, as Ecuador and Brazil are tied 1-1 as we begin the second half of the 2022 World Cup.
The ref calls the players for the kickoff, and here we go. Ecuador quickly passes the ball to the midfield, but it's out of bounds.
That'll be a throw-in for Brazil. Adriano has the ball and makes a long pass to Robinho. And the ref has called him offside.
No question about it. He was offside by a mile. We have a goal kick for Ecuador. Edison Mendez heads it to Valencia. He shoots. Deflected by the defender, and we have a corner kick.
Delgado takes the corner. We have a foul. Oh no, Dida, the goalkeeper, has fouled the Ecuadorian player. He gets a yellow card, and that will be a penalty kick.
This is the perfect opportunity for Ecuador to get ahead in this match and become world champions. He gets ready for the kick, he shoots, and he...
Okay, so Ecuador tied with Brazil in the 2022 World Cup.
Wow, Marco, I'm really happy to see that you are able to see so far into the future.
Well, I called it. So in 2022, if we do win the World Cup, you know who said it first.
All right. Do you have money on that?
Yes. All right. So apart from this, we saw some really great vocabulary in this lesson. So let's take a look at it now in Language Takeaway.
Language Takeaway.
All right, we've got a lot of soccer words for you, but they're all important. So let's take a look at the first one. Kickoff.
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 So a kickoff.
This is how you start a soccer game, right?
Right. So it's the very beginning, the referee blows the whistle, and you kick the ball to another player. That's the kickoff.
Okay. So our next phrase, out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
Okay. Out of bounds. This is a great word.
So in soccer, when the ball goes out of bounds, it goes outside the white lines, right?
Outside of the playing field.
Okay.
And you can use it in all other sports. You can use it in basketball. You can use it in tennis.
Or football or anything.
Right. So any part that is not for playing.
Out of bounds.
What's our next word?
Throw in.
A throw-in.
A throw-in.
Okay, so a throw-in. The ball goes out of bounds.
Uh-huh.
How do you put it back into play?
Obviously, a throw-in.
Okay, so you throw in the ball. That's the only time where a soccer player will actually grab the ball with his hands.
All right, now another soccer term we have here, offside.
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 Okay, so this is a little bit difficult to explain, but just imagine you're on the soccer field
Uh-huh.
and you are trying to score a goal. Now
Okay.
you have some defenders, right?
Right.
Those are the people who are trying to take the ball away. And you pass the ball to somebody who is behind the defenders.
Oh, and that person is offside.
Exactly. So you must be at all times in the same position as the defenders or in front of them, but you can't be all the way in the back.
Okay, so is this a noun or a verb or an adjective?
So this is an adjective. He is offside. That's his condition.
Okay, great. Excellent explanation, Marco. Thank you.
All right.
Now we're going to look at 3 different phrases for 3 types of kicks in soccer.
Okay. So let's take a look at this. The first one is goal kick.
A goal kick.
Okay, goal kick.
So who does the goal kick?
It's usually the goalie or the goalkeeper
All right.
who takes the goal kick.
Okay, so when the goalie kicks the ball. Mm-hmm. Now, what about a corner kick?
Okay, so if the team is attacking and the ball goes out of bounds in the back area near the goal, then they get a corner kick. They got to kick the ball from the corner of the field.
This is a great chance to score a goal, isn't it?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, and our final kick, a penalty kick.
Penalty kick.
Penalty kick.
So if a player gets fouled while he is in the area near the goal,
Okay.
he gets a penalty kick. So basically it's just him. I think it's 13 or 15 steps away from the goalie. And he gets the opportunity to score or to kick the ball.
So there are no defenders or other players in the way.
Nobody.
Wow, another great chance to score a goal.
Right.
All right, well, these are all great soccer words, and I think we should hear them again in context. So let's listen, this time a little bit slower.
Welcome back, soccer fans. My name is Rick Fields, and, as always, I am joined by my commentating wingman, Bob Copeland.
And we're on the brink of soccer history today, as Ecuador and Brazil are tied 1-1 as we begin the second half of the 2022 World Cup.
The ref calls the players for the kickoff, and here we go. Ecuador quickly passes the ball to the midfield, but oh, it's out of bounds.
That will be a throw-in for Brazil. Adriano has the ball and makes a long pass to Rubinho, and the ref has called him offside.
No question about it. He was offside by a mile. We have a goal kick for Ecuador. Edison Mendez heads it to Valencia. He shoots. Deflected by the defender, and we have a corner kick.
Delgado takes the corner, and we have a foul. Oh no. Dida, the goalkeeper, has fouled the Ecuadorian player. He gets a yellow card, and that will be a penalty kick.
This is the perfect opportunity for Ecuador to get ahead in this match and become world champions. He gets ready for the kick. He shoots. And he...
All right, so we heard these words that we were talking about in context, and now some really interesting phrases came up, and this would be a good time to take a look at them in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Well, Marco, there are 3 great phrases in this dialogue that I want to look at. The first one, on the brink of.
We are on the brink of.
We're on the brink of soccer history.
Okay, so on the brink of, what exactly does that mean?
Well, why don't we hear some examples to help us understand the meaning?
Example 1.
Look, we don't have any money. We're on the brink of going bankrupt.
Example 2.
The two countries are on the brink of war.
Example 3.
We're on the brink of an important discovery.
All right, so great examples. On the brink of, at a critical point.
Exactly. It means you're almost there, right?
Okay, yeah, very good. And what about this next phrase that I saw, and it was really interesting? No question about it.
No question about it.
No question about it.
No question about it.
All right, so this is a statement that doesn't really make much sense. But what am I saying when I say, oh, no question about it?
You're saying, I agree. There is no doubt. You're right.
You're right. Okay.
Well, let's give some examples. I could say, there's no question about it. Ecuador is a great soccer team.
There is no question about that. All right, so, or you can say, no question about it. Our company makes the best products on the market.
Okay, so really useful phrase that you can use in sports or anywhere else.
Okay. And now let's take a look at our last phrase for Fluency Builder, and it's a really good one to exaggerate a little bit.
Okay.
By a mile.
By a mile.
By a mile.
So he was offside by a mile.
Right. So the commentator is saying that he was very offside.
That it was really obvious.
Right. So you can use that also in different contexts, maybe not in sports.
Okay. So maybe we can say our company is ahead of all the others by a mile.
Right. Or if you tell somebody to guess your age and they say, oh, I think you are 42.
Oh, you could say you're off by a mile.
Right.
So you're really, really wrong.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a way of exaggerating a little bit.
Yes, and saying it's really obvious.
Right.
Well, 3 awesome phrases, and I think it will help us to hear them one more time. So let's listen to the dialogue.
Welcome back, soccer fans. My name is Rick Fields, and as always, I am joined by my commentating wingman, Bob Copeland.
And we're on the brink of soccer history today as Ecuador and Brazil are tied 1-1 as we begin the second half of the 2022 World Cup.
The ref calls the players for the kickoff, and here we go. Ecuador quickly passes the ball to the midfield, but it's out of bounds.
That'll be a throw-in for Brazil. Adriano has the ball and makes a long pass to Robinho. And the ref has called him offside.
No question about it, he was offside by a mile. We have a goal kick for Ecuador. Edison Mendez heads it to Valencia. He shoots. Deflected by the defender, and we have a corner kick.
Delgado takes the corner. We have a foul. Oh no, Dida, the goalkeeper, has fouled the Ecuadorian player. He gets a yellow card, and that will be a penalty kick.
This is the perfect opportunity for Ecuador to get ahead in this match and become world champions. He gets ready for the kick, he shoots, and he...
Okay, well, as you all may know, soccer is a very popular sport, especially in Latin America.
That's right. And your favorite team, Ecuador, are they really this good in soccer? Are they really going to win the 2022 Cup?
Well, maybe not. Well, actually, Ecuador has improved with time, but usually it's the strong teams like Argentina and Brazil who dominate the region, right?
Right.
But yeah, hopefully we'll make it next time.
Okay, well, I have my money on Ecuador and
For 2022.
But yeah, not on Canada. There's no hope for us.
Well, Canada is doing really well now. They actually beat Mexico, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, actually, that sort of, yeah, I kind of remember that now. But I think there's no hope for us to beat Brazil or Argentina, one of these big countries.
We have the next World Cup coming up, so it's really exciting, and I don't know who's going to win.
All right, well, listeners, who do you think is going to win? Who is the best soccer team out there?
Right. There are really good soccer teams, although some countries aren't really known for their soccer, like Russia. You don't really hear too much soccer from Russia.
Really?
Or from China, is for that.
I wonder how popular it is in these countries.
So let us know. Come to our website, englishpod.com. Tell us how popular soccer is in your country, or what team you are a fan of. I know many people like the European Cups and they're fans of Barcelona or the Italian teams.
Well, come to the website. Marco and I are always around to answer your questions. And until next time, goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Wingman. On the brink. Tied. Kickoff. Throw in. No question about it. By a mile. Foul. Penalty kick. Goal kick. Corner kick. Out of bounds. Offside. Goalkeeper. Defender. Match. Pitch. Championship. Let's try that faster. Kickoff. Defender. Goal kick. On the brink. Wingman. Penalty kick. Championship. Offside. Goalkeeper. No question about it. Out of bounds. Match. Tied. By a mile. Pitch. Throw in. Foul. Corner kick. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. On the brink. Look, we don't have any money. We're on the brink of going bankrupt. On the brink. The two countries are on the brink of war. On the brink. We are on the brink of an important discovery. No question about it. No question about it, Ecuador has a great soccer team. No question about it. There's absolutely no question about it. That was the best game of the series. No question about it. There's no question about it. We're in a recession now. By a mile. He missed the goal by a mile. By a mile. No, that's wrong. You're off by a mile. By a mile. The competition is ahead of us by a mile. We tied the game at 3-3. What an amazing game. It's a tie. We're tied for first place. Foul. Hey, ref, that was a foul. Foul. Did you see that? Delgado fouled him as he tried to take a shot. Foul. The Brazilian player has several fouls. Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And we're bringing you the final lesson of our job interview series.
That's right. And in this lesson, we're going to be focusing on two very, very common but sometimes difficult questions.
Okay, so we've talked about preparing for the job interview in part 1. Part 2, we talked about educational background and work experience. And in part 3, what are we going to be looking at?
We're going to be looking at two questions: why we should hire you and your greatest weakness.
Okay, so these are the classic, common questions that you'll get at a job interview, right?
That's right. So why don't we just get started and we'll take a listen to the dialogue and see how our interviewee handles these questions.
Very good. Now, I have a couple of final questions.
I hope they're not too hard.
Well, why should we hire you?
I think that I would be a perfect fit in this company. I have a unique combination of strong technical acumen with outstanding soft skills. You know, I excel at building strong, long-term consumer relationships. For example, when I headed the customer support department in my previous company, our team resolved about 70% of our customers' problems. I decided that we needed better information and technical preparation on our products. So after, I implemented a series of training sessions in coordination with our technical department. We were able to solve 90% of our customers' issues. Given the opportunity, I could bring this kind of success to this company.
Woo. Impressive. So, what would you consider to be your greatest weakness?
To be honest, I struggle with organization and time management. Punctuality has never been a strength of mine. I find it hard to organize my time effectively. I've actually addressed this weakness recently by attending a workshop on efficient time management. It helped me a lot by providing me with great insights on how to get organized and use my time efficiently. So I think I'm getting better now.
Great. Well, let me tell you that I am very pleased with this interview. We are shortlisting our candidates this week, and next week we will inform our shortlisted candidates of the day and time for a second interview with our CEO.
Great, thanks a lot. I hope to hear from you. Goodbye.
Well, our interviewee is doing very well, but I think he had a little bit too many beans or chili.
Oh my God. Like, this is probably the most embarrassing thing I can think of.
But he doesn't say anything, so I don't know. Maybe he should have said, "Oh, pardon me, excuse me," or something.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a controversy.
Yeah. Okay, but what isn't a controversy is the language, because there's some great stuff in here.
All right. So let's take a look at the language in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, we've got some great phrases and words for you to use when you're talking about what sort of benefits and skills and experience and expertise you can bring to a company.
Okay. The first thing that he said, and it's a very interesting word, he said technical acumen.
Technical acumen.
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 This is a really hard word. What is acumen?
It's basically insight and understanding and the ability to make good and difficult decisions.
Okay, so he has a very strong technical acumen.
So a strong insight or understanding of technical issues.
Okay, or I can change it and maybe say, I have a very strong business acumen.
Exactly. These are the two most common ways that this word is used: technical acumen, business acumen.
Okay, great. Now let's take a look at another word which is very interesting because everybody knows it.
Yes.
Excel.
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 Now, Excel is, of course, the software that you use, right?
Yeah. But here it's a verb meaning to be really, really good at something.
Right. To be the best, maybe.
Yeah.
To excel at something.
Yes. So I excel at cooking.
All right. So excel, you are the best.
I mean, that's not really going to help me in a job interview, but the next word might.
Head.
Head.
Well, in the dialogue, we heard it as headed in the past, right?
Yeah, that's right. He headed the customer support department.
So I think this is a great word to use when you were saying I was the leader. I was the main person in charge.
Yeah, the manager. So this is a nice verb to use to show that you were leading something.
Okay. Okay, now for the next word. Struggle.
To struggle.
Struggle. So what does struggle mean?
It means that you have difficulty doing something.
So it's hard for you.
Yeah.
For example, when I was in school, I struggled with math.
Okay, and now I struggle with Chinese.
Exactly. So to have a hard time.
Yeah. Why don't we hear a couple of examples of how this word is used?
Example 1.
We're really struggling to reach our sales target.
Example 2.
Yeah, to be honest, I do struggle with time management.
Example 3.
The teacher farted in class and I really had to struggle not to laugh.
Okay, so great examples. Let's move on to our next word. Punctuality.
Punctuality.
Okay, so to be punctual.
It means to be on time, always.
Always. So punctuality would be the noun form.
Right, so the condition or the state of always being on time.
Right. So punctuality, to be punctual.
Yeah, and our interviewee struggles with punctuality.
Right, like me.
I guess you guys have something in common.
We do. Now, he has a problem with punctuality, but he said he has addressed this weakness.
Yes, to address.
Address. Now, if you notice, it's spelled the same way as address,
That's right.
but you pronounce it differently.
So the verb address has the stress on the second syllable.
Okay, address.
Yes.
And that means to
Deal with.
deal with the problem,
Yeah,
to acknowledge the problem.
And to try and solve it.
And to try and solve it. Okay. So different from your home address where you live.
Yeah. And there the stress is on the first syllable.
Address.
Right.
Perfect. Very good. Okay, so let's listen to this dialogue one more time, and then we'll come back and talk about these two questions: greatest weakness and why should we hire you?
Very good. Now, I have a couple of final questions.
I hope they're not too hard.
Well, why should we hire you?
I think that I would be a perfect fit in this company. I have a unique combination of strong technical acumen with outstanding soft skills. You know, I excel at building strong, long-term consumer relationships. For example, when I headed the customer support department in my previous company, our team resolved about 70% of our customers' problems. I decided that we needed better information and technical preparation on our products. So after, I implemented a series of training sessions in coordination with our technical department. We were able to solve 90% of our customers' issues. Given the opportunity, I could bring this kind of success to this company.
Woo. Impressive. So, what would you consider to be your greatest weakness?
To be honest, I struggle with organization and time management. Punctuality has never been a strength of mine. I find it hard to organize my time effectively. I've actually addressed this weakness recently by attending a workshop on efficient time management. It helped me a lot by providing me with great insights on how to get organized and use my time efficiently. So I think I'm getting better now.
Great. Well, let me tell you that I am very pleased with this interview. We are shortlisting our candidates this week, and next week we will inform our shortlisted candidates of the day and time for a second interview with our CEO.
Great, thanks a lot. I hope to hear from you. Goodbye.
All right, Marco. Well, this classic question, why should we hire you? I think you'll hear it in many, many different interviews. And how did he deal with it here?
Well, the first thing that he said is very, very important because they're asking you why. So your immediate reaction would be to answer with because or I think that. But there's a different way of approaching it, which is a little bit more professional. He said, I think that I would be a perfect fit in this company.
I think I would be a perfect fit in this company.
That's how he started his answer, and then he explained why.
So this sounds really strong, doesn't it?
Yeah, basically, it just makes you seem to be very confident and puts you like you are already part of the company.
So this is a great way to start off this question, but you got to follow this up with some information. So what kind of information should you be giving?
Well, like we talked about in your work experience, the same thing goes here. What do you have to offer to this company? What special skills or insights or experience can you bring that would help us?
Yeah, that nobody else can bring.
Exactly. So, again, you have to start talking about your strengths and your previous experience, but with examples, right?
Very, very specific examples. And whenever you can, throw in some numbers or some specific successes that you have had.
Exactly. And once you've talked about these things, you can close off this answer by saying, given the opportunity, I could bring this kind of success to this company.
Given the opportunity, I could bring this kind of success to this company.
So that is just like a magical sentence saying like, if you give me the chance, I will demonstrate how good I am and how I can help this company.
Yes, a really, really strong closing argument.
Yes. So that's the way you should more or less approach that question, right?
All right, but let's turn now to the classic question. Your greatest weakness.
What is your greatest weakness? When you get this question, be sure to not say, my greatest weakness is I work too much.
My greatest weakness is I'm a workaholic.
Right? Or, what was it? Oh, or I am a perfectionist.
Yeah, these, we can see right through these. I mean,
Right.
they're too obvious and they're too silly. I mean, everyone has a weakness, so don't try and turn it around into a strength. I just don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. So, yeah, be sure to stay away from these answers. But you can say anything. Like in this case, he has a problem with being on time.
Yep.
So be honest, say what one of your greatest weaknesses are, but the key to making this weakness look good is saying what you are doing to solve this weakness.
Exactly. So really be truthful. Tell the interviewer what you're not good at, because there's obviously something that you're not good at.
Exactly. So you can say, I am usually late, but I am getting more organized. I am doing the seminar.
Yeah.
Let the interviewer know that you are trying to improve this weakness.
Exactly.
And be sure to also think about your strength, right?
Yeah, be prepared to answer the question, what is your greatest strength?
So, and again, when you're talking about your strengths, be sure it's something more specific than saying, oh, I'm very responsible.
Yeah. You want to be as specific as you can, and again, give those examples, give those successes, give those numbers.
Right, exactly. So think about your weaknesses, think about your strengths. If you don't know them, ask people, to ask your colleagues or ask your friends, what do you think is my greatest strength? Maybe you're a funny person. That's a strength.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, remember, there are 3 parts to this interviewing series, and you can find them on our website at englishpod.com.
Right. Come to our website, englishpod.com. You can look at all of these 3 lessons, and I hope they are really helpful. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, or maybe you'd like a little bit more of this interview series, let us know.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Good luck in your interviews, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. The right person for the job.
Perfect fit.
The ability to think clearly and make good decisions.
Acumen.
Be superior to, among the best.
Excel.
To be the leader of something.
Head.
To make something active or effective.
Implement.
A meeting where people acquire skills and knowledge about a subject.
Training session.
Have a difficult time.
Struggle.
Arriving or doing something at the expected or planned time.
Punctuality.
To deal with a matter, issue, problem, etc.
Address.
To select a few candidates in order to make a final selection or decision.
Short list.
Someone or something that is likely to succeed or to be chosen.
Prospect.
Curriculum vitae, a short document that describes your education, work experience, etc.
CV.
A weakness that someone has.
Shortcoming.
A valuable or beneficial thing or ability that a person has.
Asset.
A great success or achievement a person has. Triumph. Let's try that faster. The right person for the job.
Perfect fit.
Arriving or doing something at the expected or planned time.
Punctuality.
A meeting where people acquire skills and knowledge about a subject.
Training session.
A great success or achievement a person has. Triumph. Someone or something that is likely to succeed or to be chosen.
Prospect.
Have a difficult time.
Struggle.
The ability to think clearly and make good decisions.
Acumen.
A weakness that someone has.
Shortcoming.
To select a few candidates in order to make a final selection or decision.
Short list.
Be superior to, among the best.
Excel.
To deal with a matter, issue, problem, etc.
Address.
To be the leader of something.
Head.
A valuable or beneficial thing or ability that a person has.
Asset.
To make something active or effective.
Implement.
Curriculum vitae, a short document that describes your education, work experience, etc.
CV.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Excel. When I was a kid, I excelled in math. Excel. Our company currently excels at customer service. Excel. I excel at writing code. Head. I'm heading a new division in our company. Head. She headed up the marketing efforts for our new product. Head. I would like to head this new project. Struggle. When I was in school, I really struggled with physics. Struggle. After many years of struggling, I finally became rich. Struggle. To be honest, I do struggle with time management. Address. We didn't know that problem existed, but we will address it this week. Address. We need to address this issue before it gets too big. Address. Addressing these problems is a top priority for this company. Acumen. Bob brings business acumen, knowledge, and experience. He's an asset to this company. Acumen. We must hire a programmer with strong technical acumen. I'm sorry, we cannot hire you at this time since the position requires someone with a stronger business acumen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you an advanced lesson for all of our advanced learners out there.
That's right. And in this lesson, we're visiting a history class.
Yes, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic that's known around the world, which is International Workers' Day.
That's right. And we're going to learn a little bit about the history of the workers' movement in the United States.
Right, but we're also going to be taking a look at some great words and, of course, a little bit more advanced or complicated structures.
That's right. So I guess without further ado, we can get started with the dialogue.
All right, everyone, settle down. Let's get started. As you know, an important aspect of becoming a good citizen is understanding the genesis of our legal system. It's not enough to simply memorize our laws. It's necessary that we comprehend why and how they were formed. This brings me to our topic for today. Does anyone know what we celebrate on May 1st?
Cinco de Mayo.
No, that's May 5th in Spanish, James. No wonder you're failing my Spanish class. No, May 1st is International Workers' Day.
Do we get a day off from school then?
No, it is not considered to be a national holiday here in the U.S., but in other countries it is.
Oh, man.
In the 19th century, working conditions were appalling, with workers being forced to work 10, 12, and 14 hours a day. Support for the 8-hour workday movement was growing rapidly, despite the indifference and hostility of many union leaders. And by April 1886, 250,000 workers were involved in the May Day movement. Previous legislative attempts to improve working conditions had failed, so labor organizers took drastic measures. They passed a resolution stating that 8 hours would constitute a legal day's work. And on May 1st, 1886, the resolution took effect.
Cool. Is that why we only work 8 hours now?
Yes, but the happy ending came at a high price. On May 3rd, 1886, police fired into a crowd of strikers at the McCormick Reaper Works factory, killing 4 and wounding many. A mass meeting was called for the next day to protest the brutality.
And then what happened?
Well, as we say, the rest is history.
All right, so we were in a history class and we learned something new, something interesting, right?
Yeah, International Workers' Day. It says it's not celebrated in the U.S., but in many other countries it is.
Right, on May 1st, a lot of people have a day off, so that's always good.
Yes.
All right, so why don't we take a look at some of the words that we saw in this dialogue, which were maybe a little bit different or difficult in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, we're just going to look at 5 words here. And the first one, we talked about the genesis of the movement.
Right, Genesis.
Genesis.
Okay, so many of you may know that Genesis is a book in the Bible, right?
That's right, and that's where this word comes from. It's the first book in the Bible.
So it's the beginning.
Or the origin.
Origin. So that's a Genesis. So the genesis of our legal system, you would say.
Right, or the genesis of this problem.
So it's the origin.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a formal word, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess maybe you can say the origin or the beginning.
Yeah, but maybe in an academic setting, you can talk about the genesis.
Yes, very good. All right, what do we have next?
Well, one of the reasons why the workers' movement got started was because of the appalling working conditions.
Appalling.
Appalling.
If something is appalling,
It's shockingly bad.
very, very bad.
Yeah.
So now if something is appalling, like the working conditions were appalling,
That's right.
you would feel appalled.
Exactly. I'm appalled at your behavior.
Okay, so it's almost like you are disgusted.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Very, very strong word.
Yeah, very strong.
Okay, so the working conditions were appalling and people were setting up this movement, right? But what happened?
They met some hostility.
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 Hostility from the police, right?
That's right.
So what is hostility?
Hostility is the state of receiving an unfriendly reaction.
Okay.
They acted in a very unfriendly way, and it also suggests, a hint of violence even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody is hostile, they can maybe be aggressive and maybe to a point violent.
That's right.
Okay. So a hostile person.
Yeah, or a hostile environment, a dangerous environment.
Okay. Hostility, hostile. Very good.
Yeah. Now, because of these appalling working conditions, the labor movement decided to take drastic measures.
Drastic measures.
Yeah, drastic measures. This is a really wonderful phrase, and I think it would help us to listen to a few examples of this phrase in use.
Example 1. The president was faced with some difficult decisions and was forced to take drastic measures to solve the crisis. Example 2.
The police took very drastic measures to control the protesters outside the government palace.
So we understand drastic measures as extreme actions or decisions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's a saying that says desperate times call for drastic measures.
No, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Oh, dang. Well, okay, but it goes around there somewhere, right?
Something like that.
If you really have an emergency, you need to do something drastic.
You have to take drastic measures, or you can even say take drastic action.
Okay, very good. And what about our last word?
After the protests ended in violence, people started to get angry because of the brutality the police showed.
Okay, brutality.
Brutality.
So again, maybe brutality and hostility are maybe similar, right?
A little bit similar. So brutality is the state of being harsh or very forceful.
Okay, so brutality. Now, we also use the word brutal.
Right. So that means harsh or very forceful.
Now, sometimes we can use that word, but not in a harsh or forceful way, right?
Yeah, and it's quite, I might say something like, oh my God, that test was brutal.
It was brutal or...
So it was really hard or really difficult.
Right. So that's what you're saying with this word, that it's very hard or it was very intense.
Yeah, maybe one more example.
Okay, so for example, I can say, oh, I went for a run today and it was brutal. I'm so tired.
So it was really difficult.
Yeah. Brutal.
And Marco, is this something that's used by everyone?
That phrase, brutal, using in that context would be for younger people maybe. Not really, you wouldn't really hear older people using it like
so
that.
It's a little bit slangy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Great. So those are 5 interesting vocabulary words. As Marco mentioned, we want to look at some more difficult structures now in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, so we have some phrases that we saw in this dialogue. And, well, let's start with the first one.
Well, the teacher opens his discussion by talking about how an understanding of the legal system is an important aspect of being a good citizen.
Okay, an important aspect.
An important aspect.
So, well, maybe we know the word important, right? So what's
Obviously.
an aspect?
A part of something, an important part of something.
Okay, so the teacher started with an important aspect of and then specified the idea or what part it belongs to.
Right, so it usually follows this form. Noun is an important aspect of noun.
Okay.
So, for example, quality control is an important aspect of keeping customers happy.
Okay, perfect. A part of. Very good. So aspect sounds a little bit more formal or just a lot more intelligent, right?
Yeah, professional. And actually, this is a wonderful way of setting up your idea.
So the teacher said that it's an important aspect of understanding the legal system was understanding its origins or its genesis.
Yep.
And then she moved on and said that it's not enough to simply memorize laws.
That's right. It's not enough to simply do something.
Okay. So the beginning of this sentence, it is not enough to simply something. By starting a sentence like this, you are indicating that more is required, right?
So here, it's not enough to simply memorize the laws. We're saying that most people just memorize the laws, but they need to go further.
And understand them.
Exactly.
Another example would be, it's not enough to simply pass your exams. You must get good grades as well.
Right. Or maybe in a business context. It's not enough to simply satisfy your customers. You must impress them.
Okay, very good. So that's a very good way of starting out this idea of more is required.
That's right. More is required.
All right.
All right, well, I want to move on to one final point here. I found this sentence to be really, really interesting. They passed a resolution stating that 8 hours would constitute a legal day's work.
Okay, so why is this interesting?
Well, I found that, there's two verbs going on here. They passed a resolution that 8 hours would constitute a legal day's work. So we've got two verb times going on here at the same time. And I'm wondering about this one would.
Okay, so what's happening here? Obviously, this happened in the past. It's like about 100 years ago, right?
Right. So the resolution was passed 100 years ago.
Right? So this is going on in the past.
Right.
But there was a future action that was going to happen in consequence of this.
Right. So the resolution stated that 8 hours would constitute. So that's like the primary action was the passing of the resolution. And the result is this sort of this event that happens in the past but is a future event to the first primary event. Does that make any sense at all?
So this is called the future in the past, right?
That's right.
Okay, so it's a grammar structure. Many of you maybe know the simple present or the future tenses, but this is a little strange one. And as we said, so maybe it's a little bit difficult to understand the grammar in general. So why don't we take a look at some more examples of how we would use this future in the past?
Example 1. The president said that he would cut taxes by 5%. Example 2.
I made a promise that I would not smoke anymore.
Example 3. Carl told me he would buy a new car.
Okay, so now I think it's clear this whole idea of the future in the past, and we'll also be answering any questions on the site if you have any problems, right?
That's right.
Okay, so why don't we listen to the dialogue one more time, and then we'll come back and talk about this holiday, which is the International Workers' Day.
All right, everyone, settle down. Let's get started. As you know, an important aspect of becoming a good citizen is understanding the genesis of our legal system. It's not enough to simply memorize our laws. It's necessary that we comprehend why and how they were formed. This brings me to our topic for today. Does anyone know what we celebrate on May 1st?
Cinco de Mayo.
No, that's May 5th in Spanish, James. No wonder you're failing my Spanish class. No, May 1st is International Workers' Day.
Do we get a day off from school then?
No, it is not considered to be a national holiday here in the U.S., but in other countries it is.
Oh, man.
In the 19th century, working conditions were appalling, with workers being forced to work 10, 12, and 14 hours a day. Support for the 8-hour workday movement was growing rapidly, despite the indifference and hostility of many union leaders. And by April 1886, 250,000 workers were involved in the May Day movement. Previous legislative attempts to improve working conditions had failed, so labor organizers took drastic measures. They passed a resolution stating that 8 hours would constitute a legal day's work. And on May 1st, 1886, the resolution took effect.
Cool. Is that why we only work 8 hours now?
Yes, but the happy ending came at a high price. On May 3rd, 1886, police fired into a crowd of strikers at the McCormick Reaper Works factory, killing 4 and wounding many. A mass meeting was called for the next day to protest the brutality.
And then what happened?
Well, as we say, the rest is history.
All right, so Erica, in Canada, do you celebrate this?
We do, but not on May 1st.
Oh, really? When is it?
The first weekend in September.
Oh, really? And why?
I am not 100% sure. I think it's because we already have a long weekend in May because because on the 24th of May is the Queen Victoria's birthday, so we have to celebrate that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we can't have 2 vacations in the same month.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not productive, right?
Exactly.
Well,
what about in Ecuador?
Yeah, we do. On May 1st, it's a holiday, and we actually have 2 holidays in May as well, because on the 24th, we actually celebrate the Battle of Pichincha, which is one of the decisive battles for the independence of Ecuador. So we don't mind having two holidays in the same month.
Well, it sounds like Ecuador has a better holiday schedule than Canada. So
It
yeah.
is. So yeah, on May 1st, people take vacations, or companies usually on May 1st will do something special for their employees.
Oh, that's kind of a nice gesture, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like it's Workers' Day, so they'll set up maybe a barbecue or a trip or something like that. So that's what usually happens on May 1st.
Great. Well, what about in your countries, listeners? Do you celebrate May Day?
May Day.
Yeah.
May 1st, right? And if you do, well, let us know. Come to our website, englishpod.com, and leave your questions and comments there as well.
That's right. Well, thanks for downloading this lesson. And until next time, bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Relax, become calm.
Settle down.
Part.
Aspect.
Origin, beginning.
Genesis.
Understand it deeply.
Comprehend.
The day that all people in a country will be on holiday.
National holiday.
Terrible, horrible, shocking.
Appalling.
Showing no interest in.
Indifference.
The attitude of treating something as enemy.
Hostility.
Relating to legal system.
Legislative.
Sudden and severe.
Drastic.
A formal document stating the wishes of a group.
Resolution.
Form, consist.
Constitute.
Violent treatment or behavior.
Brutality.
Shoot guns into a place.
Fire into.
Describing an event that is done to honor and remember a person or event in history in commemoration of. The lowest socioeconomic class, workers.
Proletariat.
A public meeting of a large group of people to support or oppose something.
Rally.
An official statement made by a person who has power.
Proclamation.
Something like a statue built to remember a person or event from history.
Memorial.
Let's try that faster. Shoot guns into a place.
Fire into.
Terrible, horrible, shocking.
Appalling.
Form, consist.
Constitute.
Relax, become calm.
Settle down.
Violent treatment or behavior.
Brutality.
Relating to legal system.
Legislative.
The attitude of treating something as enemy.
Hostility.
The lowest socioeconomic class, workers.
Proletariat.
Describing an event that is done to honor and remember a person or event in history in commemoration of. Sudden and severe.
Drastic.
Part.
Aspect.
Origin. Beginning.
Genesis.
A formal document stating the wishes of a group.
Resolution.
Something like a statue built to remember a person or event from history.
Memorial.
The day that all people in a country will be on holiday.
National holiday.
An official statement made by a person who has power.
Proclamation.
Showing no interest in.
Indifference.
A public meeting of a large group of people to support or oppose something.
Rally.
Understand deeply.
Comprehend.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Genesis.
How did you get started on this project? What was its genesis?
Genesis.
We need to identify the genesis of this problem.
Genesis.
I'm studying the genesis of the feminist movement.
Appalling.
The way those poor children have been treated is just appalling.
Appalling.
I'm absolutely appalled by your behavior.
Appalling.
The service in that restaurant was appalling. It took 45 minutes for them to bring us our wine.
Legislative.
We can't just rely on self-enforced policy. We must find a legislative solution.
Legislative.
I don't know much about the legislative process in the U.S.
Legislative.
The president can't decide the laws. That's the responsibility of the legislative branch of government.
Resolution.
The board will vote on a resolution asking the president to resign.
Resolution.
The UN Security Council passed a resolution regarding the Middle East.
Resolution.
A resolution was introduced in the Senate supporting states' rights. We've got to take drastic measures. I think we should cut off his leg. This calls for drastic measures. I'm declaring a state of emergency. We've got to take drastic measures to cut our costs.